it for the glory. I do it for the glory.
What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Southall, back again with another review, and today I'm here with my WWE Hell in a Cell 2018 review. Now, I was meant to do a predictions video for this pay-per-view, but I went out on the weekend to Fortitude Valley with some of my friends, and I had a really good time. And when I got back home, I was just really tired and really had no motivation to make a video. And so now that the pay-per-view is now done and dusted, it's time to come up here and do a review of the show. Overall, with my predictions, I can't really remember how I did. I think I did decent. Got a few wrong, but yeah, that's just the majority of WWE pay-per-views nowadays. And overall, I thought this pay-per-view was actually pretty damn good. There were a lot of great matches on the show, especially in the first half. But unfortunately, the main event wasn't really that much to. There wasn't really much to talk about in the main event, but we'll get to that when we get to that match. So the pre-show match on this show was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The New Day defending their belts against Rusev Day, Aiden English and Rusev. I actually quite enjoyed this match. For a pre-show match, it wasn't that bad. New Day retained their championships, and on SmackDown this past week, Aiden English turned his back on Rusev. So, yeah, Rusev Day's done for, unfortunately. Well, the team between Aiden English and Rusev, anyway. So, it's definitely Rusev is the babyface, which I'm glad that they made sure Rusev was still the babyface role, which was good. But Aiden English is still a heel, and they're going to be feuding for, I'm not sure how long the feud is going to take. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. Maybe just one match will do for these two, but yeah, it's a pre-show match. It was decent. New Day got the win. Then we get to the opening match, a Hell in a Cell match between Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, and this feud has been heating up the past 2 or 3 months. You know, Randy Orton has just done some of the most vicious shit he's done in the last, 10 years almost. You know, whether it be pulling the ear hole from Jeff Hardy or just taking him out whatever chance he gets, and Hardy doing crazy stuff to get back at Randy Orton for trying to end his career. So it would only make sense for these two to finally conclude their feud inside a Hell in a Cell. And let's just say, Jesus Christ, this was vicious. This was absolutely vicious. Everything from, like, we start off the match and Jeff hit a surfboard into Randy Orton while there was a table wedged in between them. Orton hit a reverse suplex into an upside down ladder that was which was set up outside. And then I think he took off Jeff's belt and just started whipping him with it, and then crushing Hardy's head in the ladder. And then, without a doubt, just one of the most sickest spots in the match. Orton got a screwdriver, put it in Jeff Hardy's ear hole, and started pulling on the ear hole and started twisting it around. Like, fucking hell. Like, it was one of the most hard to watch spots I've seen in wrestling, well, WWE, in quite some time. Like, oh my god. And if you thought that wasn't enough, just Jeff gets his belt, and, you know, he gets some payback from Orton whipping him in the back, and Randy's back starts bleeding because Jeff wears this studded belt and all that stuff. And there was a swanton bomb with a chair on top of Orton. And the chair must have cut Orton open, because you can see a bit of his skin is hanging out. And it was disgusting. Like, it wasn't a blood-filled match, but oh my god. It was so violent. But the cherry on top, easily the best spot of this match, the craziest spot of this match. Jeff Hardy climbs up a ladder, and he looks like he's going to do that double ladder spot where he springboards off one ladder onto the other and hits a leg drop. He's done it in countless matches. But this time, Jeff thought it would be an awesome idea for him to hold on to the top of the cell, the red Hell in a Cell, grab onto it, start swinging from the cell, the top of the cell. By the way, it's not a small cell. It's like 15, 20 feet in the air. And Orton moves out of the way and Jeff just dives through that table. And then Orton grabs his lifeless body. Well, it's almost a lifeless body. Like, holy shit. And he tells the ref, do your job, pin the match. 1, 2, 3, Orton wins. Wow. That definitely set the tone for the night. And, oh my God. That was one of the most violent Hell in a Cell matches I've witnessed in quite some time. Like, it was easily the most violent Hell in a Cell match without the use of excessive blood loss. I mean, there definitely was blood shown in this match, but it's not like the matches from the 2000s where everyone was just bleeding from the head and all that shit. So, oh my God, screwdrivers, jumping off the top of the cell, freaking, bleeding black, a bleeding back, and like flesh coming out of your leg, like, Jesus Christ. They definitely had some scars from this match for sure, and I know Jeff's in a bad state after that match, as you would be. But yeah, respect to both of those men. Great feud, great Hell in a Cell match, and probably one of my favorites in quite some time. It was really great. Very violent, and I loved it. Afterwards, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. Charlotte Flair defending her title against Becky Lynch. Now, Becky was full heel in this match. The build-up has been very good, in my opinion. However, I feel like I gave it a chance, but now after the weeks of build, despite it being good, Becky should be the babyface going into this, and Charlotte should be the heel. I know they wanted to try something with Becky to see if she can work as a heel because she has on NXT, and also with Charlotte Flair, they really want to push her as like the face of the women's division, or on SmackDown anyway, and which I still don't get. Like, Charlotte is so much better as a heel as opposed to a babyface, but whatever. The match here was very well done. There was a disarmer turned into a powerbomb by Charlotte. There was a Boston Crab, but then Becky grabs onto the ropes, and then during the end, Becky like reversed. I think it was like not like a power slam, but some sort of a slam, and reversed the move and wins the SmackDown Women's title. And yeah, I loved the ending as well after the match, where Charlotte tries to be the better person and to go and shake her hand, but Becky is just having none of it and just tells her pretty much to piss off, and refuses to shake her hand and holds up the SmackDown Women's title, because the whole story with Becky turning on Charlotte is that she is sick of Charlotte taking all the spotlight away from her. I mean, she did that in 2016 when Charlotte turned her back on Becky, and now Becky's the one turning her back on Charlotte because she's always the one taking Becky's moment. Anytime Becky gets close to having a great opportunity, Charlotte always has to be in there to kind of hog the spotlight. Well, in her own mind, that's what she thinks. And it's really intriguing. This has been probably the most intriguing women's storyline in quite some time. So even if the roles should be the other way around, I don't want them to stop. It's been a very interesting storyline so far, and honestly, they still could do a double turn if they really wanted to, and they actually just decide to listen to the fans. There's still a way you can do that and have it work naturally. So I'm excited to see where this feud goes. And yeah, I've really got any complaints about it. I've been really stoked for this feud, and I just can't wait to see more. And then we get to the Raw Tag Team Championship match between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, putting their belts on the line against the Shield's Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Now, when the match first started off, it was pretty slow at the beginning. I was waiting for it to kind of pick up the pace, and I thought this might be a pretty disappointing match. But once they picked up the pace, holy shit, they did not stop. Like, Ziggler, I think it kind of started when Ziggler started distracting the ref from Ambrose tagging in. I thought that was very smart on Dolph's part. Drew hit a great belly-to-belly into the turnbuckles, and Rollins and Ziggler, when they got into the ring, they really started picking up the pace. And because, like, when Ziggler hit that first zigzag, I think they had a bit of a reversal moment before Ziggler hit the zigzag. And once Rollins kicked out, beforehand, I thought for sure Ziggler was going to retain the titles, but that's just not what happened at that moment anyway. So Rollins runs up to the top rope for a superplex, but then McIntyre hits the Claymore kick on him during the second suplex for them to retain the titles, which I thought was great. Just incredible action, especially during the middle portion in the end. That's where it really got things going, and these four teams just put on an incredible match. One of the best tag team matches I've seen on pay-per-view form anyway in a while. So I really enjoyed that. Just to see Rollins and Ambrose as a tag team, they have great chemistry together. And Ziggler and McIntyre as well have been really gelling well as a tag team. I feel like they both have something to prove, especially with, Ziggler at the ending of last year, getting rid of the US title and now winning the Intercontinental Championship back, and then losing it to Rollins at SummerSlam, and then winning back the Raw Tag Team titles, although he never really won the Raw Tag Team titles. He is just desperate to keep himself on the map, and by doing that, you have to win championships. So obviously, Ziggler was desperate to win no matter what, and I think that's great, as well as McIntyre, because he was built in 2009 to be Vince McMahon even said he's going to be a future world champion, and now that he's back on the main roster for his second run, he isn't going to stop to make sure that actually happens. So when you have two guys who are driven and determined to do whatever it takes to make it to the top, I think it's a great dynamic, and especially with Rollins and Ambrose as well. I mean, Rollins is the Intercontinental Champion and Ambrose is back, so yeah, it's really cool to see these four teams who all want to be the best collide with each other. I think that's great. And after this, we had the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. This feud has gotten just more personal by the weeks, with Samoa Joe just referencing Wendy and his kids and all that stuff. And this match, I thought, was a great addition to their story that they're telling at the moment. So the thing is, if anyone else had to build up their feud by reading out a bedtime story, I feel like it would fall flat on his face. But it just goes to show you how great Samoa Joe is. He's such a dominating force, and he has this powerful demeanor about him that he's a genuinely scary competitor. And so when he's talking in that really low voice, reading that bedtime story, it's like, fuck, he's an evil, monster that could really do some damage. And he did some damage to AJ in this match, flying through the ropes. There was one point in particular where AJ was running at him, and Samoa Joe just, ran into him, and AJ just flipped in the air. And, even as well, AJ showed some great strength in this match, similar to what they did at SummerSlam, where he hit a great power bomb on him, which was awesome. AJ ended up catching Joe's leg, but then Joe retorts with a vicious kick to the head. But AJ catches Joe in a Bret Hart British Bulldog style finish, where he pins him with the legs, because Cody did that to Nick Aldis at All In earlier this month, where he just holds him by his legs and pins him to retain the championship. But when we saw the replay of this match, we thought AJ had won. However, when we looked back and saw AJ pin Samoa Joe, because he had him in a Coquina clutch beforehand, before he was able to get the pin and put Samoa Joe's shoulders on the mat, you could clearly see him tapping to the Coquina clutch. but the ref didn't see that, and right afterwards, Samoa Joe just stormed into Paige's office, telling her what the hell that was about, and it was revealed that AJ Styles will face Samoa Joe for the WWE title at Super Showdown in a no DQ match, I'm pretty sure, which I will be attending live, and I cannot wait to see that match live. It's going to be... I hope they do get really vicious because, man, I'm going to really enjoy seeing that. So, yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I get really excited because I'm going to be able to see it live. But overall, what did I think of this match? I thought this match was a pretty decent match. They could have done a few things better. It could have been a lot more vicious in some points. But overall, they had a pretty good match with each other. Afterwards, we get The Miz and Maryse versus Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. Honestly, I don't really have much to say about this match. I mean, the build-up was quite entertaining, but the match itself, I didn't really think that much of it. There wasn't really a spark that really interested me in this match, which was a shame because I thought the build-up was actually quite interesting. With Maryse being on Miz's side, Brie Bella sticking up for her husband and all that stuff, and with these two continuing to acknowledge that Miz and Maryse are cowards, but Miz and Maryse are complaining about Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan, saying that their relationship is just for comfort and just contempt with each other, and that just really ticks off both guys, both people in the relationship. But Miz and Maryse won this match, and honestly, that's all I can really say about it, which is such a shame. Probably one of the most disappointing matches of the year for me, but I really shouldn't have been building it up that much, if I'm being honest with you. So afterwards, we get the Raw Women's Championship match. We have Ronda Rousey defending her title against Alexa Bliss, and it was nice to see Alexa aiming for Ronda's ribs. It was really weird because Alexa got a lot of offense in on Ronda, a lot more so than she did at SummerSlam. There was a gut-wrench powerbomb by Ronda Rousey, which looked really good. A lot of people complain about Ronda not being like a good wrestler. Like, I heard someone say that, but honestly, she's doing pretty damn well for herself. She just needs the right opponent to work with, and right now WWE has picked good opponents for her to make her look strong and to make her look like a dominant Raw Women's Champion. So I'm glad that they're protecting her. But honestly, that's fine by me because Ronda's done a great job so far. She locks in the armbar on Alexa and she instantly taps out to win the Raw Women's title. Overall, the match was alright, but I wouldn't say it was a great match by any means. A little bit better than the previous match, but that's not really saying much. But afterwards, we get to the main event. Fucking hell. For the Universal Championship, Mick Foley as the special guest referee, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. This was Strowman's Money in the Bank cash-in match. In the build-up, Strowman turned heel by teaming up with Roman and then attacking him afterwards because the week before he turned heel, he was meant to cash in on Roman Reigns. However, the Shield interfered and stopped that from happening. But this was his cash-in match, and now he has Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler by his side. So, which is just a real shame to me. I don't like the fact that Braun Strowman is now a heel because he was one of the most over faces you had, and you turn him heel. It's just the lengths that this company will go to make people cheer for Roman Reigns is just... It's just ridiculous. It's so desperate and pathetic. When will they realize the majority of fans will most likely never get behind Roman? It's just never going to happen. But, yeah, just this main event was such a disappointment to me. Even when Roman hit his Superman punches, it didn't really do shit to Braun Strowman. And, I think Foley even botched a 2 count at one point when he accidentally hit a 3, I'm not sure. But Roman runs right into Braun's steel steps. There was a running power slam and only gets a 2. And then after that, you'd think this would be the point afterwards where they start, picking things up, using some more weapons. They could have crashed through the cell or anything. But Instead, we get Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler interfering. They're trying to get inside the cell, but then Rollins and Ambrose stops, and then the match kind of focuses on them throughout the second half of this. Like, how good can your match really be when Rollins and Ambrose and Ziggler and McIntyre are the main thing people are focusing on? Like, Dolph climbs up to the top of the cell along with everyone else outside the Hell in a Cell. And so Rollins and I think Ziggler do the Seth Rollins Dolph Ziggler spot, do the Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose spot from 2014 where they're like halfway up the cell and then both of them fall onto tables. It was basically the exact same spot. I mean, it was still crazy, but it was literally a redo of Rollins' match from 4 years ago. And then after all that insanity kind of calms down, Brock Lesnar shows up, rips down the door, which I did actually like, because it's not like Kane where he kind of struggled a little bit in 97. He just completely ripped the door off and just threw it. It was fucking great, I will say. And then afterwards, he hits a couple of F5s on him, beats the crap out of both Roman and Braun, as I'm guessing this is revenge for them costing Brock the Universal Championship. And so, because of that beatdown by Brock Lesnar, the match ends in a no contest. Are you fucking kidding me? So let me get this straight. Mick Foley, 20 years ago, fell off the top of the cell. He kept going, climbed up, the match kept going. He got chokeslammed through the roof of the cell with a chair, smacking him in the face while he was landing, almost died. Sort of, but you get what I'm trying to say. He was on the verge of death. And then you have him thrown onto thumbtacks. And it wasn't until Undertaker got the free count that the match ended. And not only that, earlier in the night, Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy had flesh ripped out from their legs. They had their backs bloodied. They were screwdrivers involved. Jeff fell from the top of the cell, crashed through a table, and the match was forced to end by Orton pinning. You couldn't have had, like, Roman crawl over and pin Braun. Like, I understand WWE are trying to make both guys look strong, but honestly, I would have much preferred if, like, Roman pinned Braun. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but at least we would have gotten a decisive ending. I would have much preferred that over a no contest, because it just seems like such a cheap way of ending the match, in my opinion. And it's revealed that this is going to set up a triple threat match at the next Saudi Arabia show, WWE Crown Jewel. So, yeah, that show might be okay, but the Greatest Royal Rumble was honestly quite a bit of a waste of time, except for the Royal Rumble. So, because this is a big triple threat universal title match, I'll probably watch it. Will it be good? It could be. It could be pretty damn good. The Fatal 4-Way match at SummerSlam last year, involving Joe as well, was great. So I feel like these three guys could put on a great match. I would have thought they would save this for Survivor Series, but I'm guessing Survivor Series is probably going to be SmackDown versus Raw for the third year in a row. So if that's it, then fair enough. But yeah, I guess WWE wants to put in their Saudi show. Got to get that Saudi Arabia money. And that's how we ended the show. Match of the night for me was the Hell in a Cell match between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. It was a match that felt like it belonged inside the cell. The build-up was just really violent, with Orton just being an evil son of a bitch, and Jeff Hardy not backing down and not surrendering to Randy Orton, and just having it end in just brutal fashion. So yeah, just a savage Hell in a Cell match. Spot of the night would easily have to be Jeff Hardy diving off the cell. That was swinging off the cell and then diving into the table. That was just fucking insane. How I'm going to rate this show, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. The first half of the show was really great, in my opinion, but it kind of tanked during the second half of the show. The last 3 matches didn't really do much for me at all, while the first 4 matches I thought were pretty damn great. They all told a unique story or had great action involved with them. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about this show. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your opinions on Hell in a Cell. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You were glad you did. Twitter and Instagram's at JackoManLaw for anyone if you want to check me out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I am out in 3, 2, 1.